So hello and welcome back to Kumari Coins and Banknotes. And today we're reviewing Danish banknotes, and I'll give you roughly an estimate what you could buy them for, but you need to look around. Estimates vary widely on these banknotes, but one thing I know is that they are expensive, so you're not going to buy many of these for $1 or $2 unless it's like ripped in half. Then people just want to get rid of it. So the first banknote that we have is a 1941 10 krona. So this is the issue that was first issued in 1913. And obviously the earlier the banknote is, the more expensive it is. But also some years have a lot more printed than other years. That I do not know the actual number printed per year. So you'd have to do your own research on that. So these banknotes come in denominations up to, I think it's 500 or 1,000 krona. Okay, so looking at the online catalogue, the highest denomination in this series is the 500 krona, but that banknote is going to be very expensive. It has an exchange rate of about $100, but you put in inflation, it's probably purchasing power, probably like, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 in today's current values. So these banknotes are quite good. Looks like it has a Mercury on this side, the head, and it has the three lions that represent Denmark, and it's on its coat of arms. And here we have, looks like everlasting, quite nice, beautiful flowers. If they made those a lot more yellow, it'd actually stand out a lot more. But the main feature of this is when you're looking at this banknote, you're either looking at the head or the actual lions. I combine them both, so it's a bit hard to focus on just one image. But they're trying to focus your head into the actual center. And on this banknote, it doesn't have really any standout feature on this side, but it is quite a nice banknote, so it's quite even, and you're looking all over the banknote. So that one is a very nice banknote. It also comes in 5 krona. Okay, the next series that we have is the series that was issued in the 60s. And this series is quite a harder series to actually get. So the 10 krona seems to be the most common. And I've only got two of them here. Now they do come in 5 krona up to 500. In 1972, they issued a 1,000 krona, but that is for the next issue that we have here. So as you can see, when you're looking at this banknote, you're looking at the numeral in the middle, and Hans Christian Andersen is on the actual left side, and we have looks like a stork on the right side. So you're focusing in the center. And if you want to know the date that was printed, it's these two numbers here. So this is 1973. And on the other banknote, it's 1969. So the two middle banknote numbers. And they currently use that on the banknotes as well. So it's one of the earlier countries, as well as Sweden, that issued the date of issue in the serial numbers. So if you're looking at serial numbers, you just discount those two numerals for the actual overall product. And on the back we have this is a Bornholm countryside. Looks pretty desolate, morbid, and just somewhere I like a cemetery type feature, but I actually quite like it. So what would you be paying for any of these banknotes? Yeah, probably $10 to $20 for these. Well, that's what I got these for anyway. But they're actually quite a nice banknote series. And these are the cheapest ones you're going to get. If you wanted to get a whole set of these banknotes, it's probably going to cost $2,000 to $3,000, I would say, just to even get the 500 krona. So the next series I have, so these ones are issued in the 70s. Well, they started to. Denmark issues their different denominations at different dates, like we do in Australia now. So the first polymer series was issued between 92 and 96, and the second one between 2016 and 2020. So these ones are issued over a different time period. But I have the three denominations, and the first thing you'll notice is that the left side has plain, so they haven't printed on it because it has a watermark. So that's an easy feature to check out the watermark. And all these have the plain side on the actual left, and the head is on the right. They different denominations have different sizes, and also they have different colors. So that's good for people visually impaired or people who are illiterate. They can go on the actual color of the banknote. So probably wondering, the 10 and 20 krona look pretty similar. So they're similar. Size has not changed that much, and the color is pretty similar. That's because in 1978 they issued a 10 krona. So this banknote was issued between 1972 and 78. And then in 1979, after they issued the coin, they issued the 20 krona banknote. So basically, these two banknotes never circulated at the same time. So that's why they weren't too concerned about them being similar, because one was withdrawn and the other one was put into circulation after the first one was withdrawn. So this one is dated 1977, and it has the portrait of Catherine Kirchhoff. So you can look her up. On the back we have the sorry, I'm looking at a website while an eider. So obviously it's the type of duck. I'm not too familiar with the wildlife of Denmark. So this is the 1972 series when they first started it, based on the law in 1936. And this one's probably about $10 to $20. Okay, so the 20 krona. So this was also replaced by a coin in about 1988. And here we have the first year of issue, 1979. And who is actually based? Okay, the portrait is Pauline Tutine. And on the back, we have two house sparrows. We have these in Australia. They're introduced here, but they're native to Europe. And we have a palette and paintbrushes as the watermark. What's the watermark of the 10? Oh, it's just her portrait as well. So this one's probably about $20 to $30. It's in pretty good condition. Some damage to it, but I actually quite like this banknote. And the previous one I had, I think I sold it for about $30. And the last banknote, which is the highest denomination I do have, so this is equivalent to about 10 Australian dollars, is the 50 krona. And as you can see, the date on this one is 1996. So this was a long-lived banknote denomination. It wasn't changed to a coin, and currently they issue this denomination as the lowest valued banknote. So this one has a portrait of Ingeborg Reiberg. Obviously I butchered that name. And it has some carp on the background, on the back of the banknote. And carp, we have a lot of these in Australian waters. And according to the law, if you fish these out of Australian waters, you can't throw them back in. So pity if you're a Buddhist, you don't want to hurt them. But you need to obey the actual law. Well, probably not. So anyway, this one's probably also $30 to $40. These are not cheap banknotes. And they also issue them in 100 and 500 and 1,000 krona. The 200 krona was issued at a different date, which is 1997, and that came with the next issue. So Danish banknotes are actually quite a nice series to get, and also pretty expensive if you want to get the whole set. Unlike Australian banknotes are pretty cheap compared to these ones. But, you know, if you're interested in Lego, these are the banknotes you should purchase. And another thing, out of the European banknotes, countries I like to collect are Denmark, the Netherlands, Austria, and Switzerland. There's really not many other countries that I do like to collect, even though I will collect them. They are pretty much the best series I reckon that you should collect. Anyway, let's say thank you very much and have awesome coin and banknote collecting time. Thank you and goodbye.